Hello and welcome to this short video where I'm going to attempt to outline some of the drivers of economic activity in the United Kingdom in the coming 12 months. In Q1 next year, I think the impact of Brexit and the continuing impact of COVID will mean that economic activity will remain relatively suppressed. Consumers will lack the confidence to come back into the market in any great numbers. Brexit will provide increased disruption at our ports as we struggle to bring goods in and out of the European Union. Many of our ports, notably London Gateway, Southampton and Felixstowe, have a situation where there's a logjam in the port. So we've seen numbers of reports of ships being delayed, docking at the ports, not being able to offload their goods, and in some instances, missing UK ports out of their European loop and offloading goods that were destined for the UK in European ports and then seeking to truck those goods and services back into the UK. When we add this impact of COVID to the impact of Brexit, where increased customs procedures are likely to logjam our ports even further, this is going to present significant challenges for procurement professionals as they seek to ensure the integrity of supply chains. So what do we think is going to drive the UK economy? As far as consumers are concerned, after a rather rocky start to the year in Q1, I would start to see the impact of a vaccination campaign, the impact of reduced COVID incidents, and the impact of moving into the spring and summer months, meaning that consumers can return to the shops, that activity can return to a more normal level of activity, that our consumption patterns and consumption behaviours can be normalised back to something approaching a pre-COVID pattern of behaviour, and that we will see consumption and consumption behaviour starting to drive the growth of our economies. As far as investment demand is concerned, I would expect to see organisations coming back to the market rather slowly. I would expect to see an increase in investment in Q3 and Q4 of next year, albeit a relatively small one, as businesses start to react to any increase in consumer confidence that they see occurring earlier on in 2021. So the increase in investment will be contingent upon consumers coming back to the market. As far as government spending is concerned, I think the government is in a position now where it may resist the temptation to go back to austerity policies, but the public purse has come under enormous pressure, seeing us through the whole process of COVID, and public debt has obviously increased enormously. What I would expect to see is government spending being railed back. There'll be an emphasis on increased efficiency inside the public sector. There'll be an emphasis on discretionary expenditure maybe being railed back. There'll be an emphasis on public expenditure, which is about increasing the productivity and capacity of the UK economy, being the types of public expenditure that we focus upon. As far as trade is concerned, the big issues here for the United Kingdom, at least in 2021, are the extent to which our trade with the European Union is impacted by the recovery of the European Union and any negative impacts of Brexit. And then secondly, we need to see a recovery in the North American market. The United States is our biggest trading partner in terms of an individual country. Around 15 to 16% of our exports go there. We need to see a US economy that comes out of the political uncertainty associated with the election, that comes out of the uncertainty that is associated with COVID, that starts to grow again robustly and starts to demand UK exports. In 2021, I would argue that three agendas will start to emerge and become front and center of the thinking of all procurement professionals. First of all, I think the environmental agenda is going to return. Post-COVID, the political discourse around the potential economic impacts of environmental and ecological disasters is going to become much more high profile. And I think the greening and the decarbonisation of the supply chain is going to become a massively important issue from an economic perspective for many organisations. Secondly, I think we have to address the whole agenda of new ways of working. Specifically, many of our organisations are looking at increasing flexible working, increasing the possibility of their employees to work from home. I think procurement professionals will be significantly involved in this movement in terms of both equipping our workforce to work away from the office and also engaging in the debate about what we do with significant amounts of real estate that our organisations currently own and how we're going to manage that going forward. And finally, the third agenda that I think the procurement profession is going to have to address is the issue of digitalisation. Digitalisation in terms of procuring, digitalisation in terms of automating much of our procurement activities and how that impacts our profession, but also digitalisation in terms of how our consumers wish to buy our products and what that actually means from a procurement and from a fulfillment perspective for many of our organisations. Hopefully this short video has given you something to think about. I hope you and your families have a prosperous 2021 and we move forward from what was a very, very challenging 2020. We look forward to working with you at CIPS and addressing some of the issues that I've raised in this video. Take care and stay well. Thank you.